All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, it's great pleasure to meet you here at our webinar. Today we are presenting Galileosky OBD-II, but first of all, let us present ourselves. So my name is Maxim. I'm representing Commercial Department, Regional Development Department.
My name is Andrew. I'm a technical support engineer from Galileosky.
Yeah, please write in chat if you hear us well. We will just go on right away. All right, it seems that since everyone is saying hello to us, we are able to start. As mentioned, we are presenting Galileosky OBD-II device today. It's the new tracker, the new development of our team, the new device which we are glad and amazed to actually excited to introduce to you. This is the compact device for the basic tracking with some advanced features. And let us go forward all in all about it. So today we will talk about the key advantages of the new device, about the technical opportunities that it provides. We also will discuss some basic functions and configuration principles, and we will definitely stress out your attention on the CAN data and how to decrypt data, how to extract it from any specific OBD port of any specific vehicle. So we will just stick our attention on this part as well. Just to introduce you to our webinar platform, I know that most of you are the regular visitors of our webinars, but all in all, we will just briefly tell about the structure. It will be about 45 minutes, maybe will be a bit longer due to your questions. If there are so many, we will definitely be glad to answer those. Also, the recording of the video of the webinar will be definitely sent to your email. So once you register to the one specific webinar, even if you don't have the opportunity to attend it, you will have the record afterwards. So once we finish, you will automatically get the record. So tell your colleagues not to avoid the registration. It will give them the link for watching the webinar offline. So, and in case you have any certain questions regarding the presentation we have or regarding the new device, please feel free to do it on the special questions tab. This slide, you can see where it is located. So it's actually, let me show you, yeah, this one actually, the additional arrow already. So ask your questions there. We will answer them after our presentation one by one. In the meanwhile, you can discuss the new device between each other, on the chat tab. So yeah, so let's start right away. So Galileosky OBD device is the new device for easy installation, but for complex tasks. And here in my hands, the sample of the unit. So it is packed in the cozy, in the compact, actually blister packing. So it is really small. So the main advantage and the one thing that you will definitely see when you will have the device at your hands is that it has extremely small dimensions. So let me unpack the device and show you. It's just like, I don't know, it's just a little bit more than matches box. So it's a really compact device which will fit in each and every OBD port of each and every vehicle. So, but it is obviously not the only advantage. So let us first think of where we can implement it. So I know that many of you are using OBD-II trackers in their business, and you are probably aware that the spheres which are mainly involved into using Galileosky OBD tracker overall are the fleet where you will need maybe some timely installation. For example, for rented vehicles, for corporate vehicles, for such stuff like supervisors or merchandisers, those who are traveling throughout the city just to on the light vehicles just to bring some goods and then change their shifts. So it is also widespread on the leasing vehicles. Sometimes it is even used on car sharing, taxis, and obviously for private use when the private person might just plug in the OBD device into the port and just to have their vehicles tracked real time. So yeah, so let's move to the key advantages and key benefits. And one that we can talk all day long is the CAN scanner tool. So this is the feature. You might know that it's dedicated for extracting any CAN parameter from any specific vehicle, any available CAN parameter actually. So you probably know the technology which was deployed last year on Galileosky 7 and base block. Now it is organically transferred to Galileosky OBD-II, so you can use the same tool for data decryption that you have used on 7.0 and base block. I will not talk a lot about it. I will then transfer my speech to Andrew, who will show you in the real case how you can use CAN scanner and what could be the following implementation of it. So with CAN scanner, you can also make some diagnosis of the vehicle. So you can check speed, engine speed, temperature, and get other parameters from the OBD-II port, which is actually dedicated for diagnostics. So another advantage, which is quite obvious, is easy logic technology, the technology of scripting, the technology of drawing the algorithms in the device is being transferred to Galileosky OBD-II as well. So you can benefit from it as well. So what we have drawn our attention mostly is the track drawing. So despite being a very compact device, let me show you once again, despite being very compact, despite being installed in quite harsh environment for the tracker, which is usually far below the steering wheel, so it has a very good track drawing. We will show it afterwards. We will show you the examples of how it draws the track. But first tests of our partners, which have been launched recently, told us that there's not that much difference between, for example, 7.0 and OBD-II, despite of being small and being installed on OBD-II port. So we have drawn our attention on this part. We use not the dual modules, not combined modules. We use separate modules for GNSS and for GSM connection, which allows us to get the perfect results for positioning and for track drawing. So the next thing we can talk about is Iike Driving. So being plugged in OBD-II port, the device have quite fixed position in order to use accelerometer as the for determination of driving style, for determination of harsh acceleration, harsh braking, turning, and obviously speeding. So this essential technology is deployed in Galileosky OBD-II as well. And obvious solution for the OBD tracker, it is plug-and-play solution. So it doesn't require any costs for installation. It's very simple and it's very convenient for even the end customer to install the device. So eventually you are, as the integrator, will only have to configure the device in a group or singularly and then send it to the customer, and they will have no option to have the mistake. They will just plug the device in the one certain way to the OBD-II port and start using of the Galileosky device. The next things we shall talk about are, for example, light indication. So this is not that widespread on the OBD trackers, but we have LED indication, so you can see it on the device. It's displayed under this part of the tracker. So once you plug it in, you will have the few LEDs blinking with telling you about whether the power supply is good enough, whether there is the connection with the satellites, whether there is the connection with the server or the GSM network. So all in all, you can visually diagnose, make visual diagnostics of the device just plugging it in. Also, it has USB for configuration, and good news about it that it is powered. So it means that you can do the configuration right in the office or right in the vehicle, not plugging it in. So you can just connect it with the laptop and make all the configuration you need locally over USB, which is powered. Also, the device have the internal battery. So the main requirement for the battery in the OBD tracker is to send the alert about the OBD device being how to say it, being
Extracted from the
yeah, being extracted from the OBD port, exactly. So you will never have the opportunity, or the driver will never have the opportunity to make the extraction unattended. So the dispatcher will have the alert, or the owner will have the alert, or the driver will have the alert that the OBD tracker had been extracted even without the external power source. So the SIA J1962 standard is the standard which describes to the manufacturer of the vehicles how they should place the OBD port, what should be the dimensions before the OBD port, so the diagnostics equipment could be fit in. So our main task when we have been developing the device was to create such a dimension so the device could be used on most of the vehicles. So this is why we use the standard as the maximum dimensions we could have. So the blue part is actually the part of which the vehicle manufacturer has to leave for the diagnostics equipment to be fit in. So this is why we have chosen these exact dimensions. So, and some obvious advantages like the remote configuration, which could be available over SMS or GPRS, or through the commands from the server, or through the remote configurator, which is also available for a group of trackers. So if you have some typical job to do, if you have some typical task to do, typical vehicles to be installed in, you can use the same configuration for a group of trackers. And one thing that I think you will appreciate as well is the device being quite compact, has two nano SIM cards. So you can use it in roaming, you can use it to extend the operation in GSM. So the device can pick which SIM card it will use depending on the home network it is moving in. So yeah, those are main advantages which I want to draw your attention at. I will pass my word to Andrew, who will tell you about some technical specification, and then move to CAN scanner, and then move some easy logic, I guess. So yeah, all in all, let me pass the word to Andrew.
Yes, thank you very much, Maxim, for your part of the presentation. Now we will look closer at the technical specifications and data sheets of the tracker, and just look in more details what it can do and what it supports. So here on the screen you can see a current technical data sheet of the device. As you can see, many parts of it are classical and usual for our Galileosky trackers. For example, our GSM unit is used the same. It supports 4 types of frequencies from 850 to 1900. So covering most of the frequencies, the GSM signal is transferred on, and supporting actually any geographical frequency type. As you have already noticed, we don't have inputs for antennas. That is because we are using internal antennas for the device in order to make the installation the easiest and smoothest without any wires. So you can just connect the tracker to the OBD input and don't have to do anything with that. So no wires in the cabin or outside the vehicle. We have checked these antennas and how they work in the real conditions. So we had a lot of tests with our vehicles, and the track was almost always a perfect track, so without any losses, without any cuts, and so on. And of course the data transmission was also quite alright, so quite good, up to our standard level of quality, which means that the internal antennas here are working at the same level of quality as, for example, external 4-base blocks. The data transmission channel for now is only GPRS and SMS, so 3G not covered, which is also quite typical. For example, like for 7.0 trackers, which also support GPRS and SMS. We have worked with the GPS unit and counted the time of start of hot start when it was just reset, for example, and cold start when it was for some time left without any external power, so working only on internal, and then no working at all. So losing all the navigation data. And well, the optimal work time of this hot start is 1 second, so just right after the tracker is turned on, and cold start starting from 25 seconds. So the usual time of cold start is about half a minute. That is due to the fact that, as I already mentioned, we use the same types of GSM and GPS units as we use in our latest trackers, in this one as well, which also supports the same type of quality and the same characteristics of speed and work. Current internal memory capacity is also quite usual for our trackers, so it's 16 megabytes for internal archive of the points recorded for track. So it's quite a good capacity, which allows to store the track for up to several weeks, depending, of course, on the amount of data written in every point and the frequency of points recorded. So you can actually, of course, even use it for more, couple of weeks, so 3-4 weeks, 5 weeks. That's just usual capacity used by our clients with usual standard settings. And also, as we have seen, and well, I can even show, I think on this side we haven't, sorry, haven't shown yet. The tracker has a SIM slot for 2 main SIM cards, the same as used in the Galileosky 7, and so you can expand the region where you can work with your tracker by adding different SIM cards for different geographical positions and different roaming prices, as well as using 2 different operators inside one region just for better network coverage. And of course, you can also buy installation of SIM chip, so you just can provide us with the SIM chip you would like, and we can replace one of the initial SIM card slots with SIM chip. So you could, well, it's basically the same thing as using SIM card, but it's more efficient because there is no way you can harm or lose the SIM card because, well, it's SIM chip. As Maxim already mentioned, we are using, we also have internal battery in our OBD trackers, so in case if the tracker is extracted from the external power, it has a capacity of 100 milliamperes per hour, which means that it will work approximately a little more than an hour. It's quite sufficient time for such autonomous work, which also, as Maxim mentioned, can allow us to send alarm messages in case we need to notify the dispatcher or the driver about the fact of being of the tracker being extracted, as well as record track for some time, starting from the moment of extraction in case of theft, for example. Our tracker supports CAN digital interface, which is logical since its name is OBD-II. So its main functionality is, of course, connecting to CAN bus using the OBD input and using such tools as CAN scanner and EasyLogic to work with data found in the CAN bus and transmitting this data to the so it's typical functionality, the same as with our trackers, supporting of J1939 and J1979 protocols, connection via CAN-H and CAN-L, contacts based on the OBD input, and working with 29-bit and 11-bit identifiers, depending on what is transmitted in the canvas of the vehicle. Of course, our tracker supports sending and configuring via SMS commands. So the commands format is the same as for Galileosky 7 and base block. So it supports all the same commands settings. It has inbuilt accelerometer, which can be used for driving style control and Iike Driving, to notify about harsher braking, harsher acceleration, or turnings, as well as vertical accelerations. As also Maxim have mentioned, this is our first tracker to support parasitic power using USB port. So the 5-volt voltage supplied via a USB channel will be enough for the tracker to turn on and to be able to be configured. In certain points, it will even be able to turn on the GPS GLONASS unit, so it can even see some satellites and start recording track. But that is not guaranteed, because that's not the main feature. The main feature here is to, which is most interesting and convenient, to be able to configure it using just your laptop. So connecting USB, and that's all. As you have seen, the tracker is made, the case of the tracker is plastic, so it's quite light. It's only 35 grams in weight. Its size is pretty small. As Maxim said, it's about like a matchbox. So the dimensions you can see on the screen, it's 50 to 48 to 25 millimeters. The average life and warranty period here are also standard for our trackers, so we are sure in the quality of the devices that we manufacture. So the average lifetime counted is of the components and all the quality of the manufacturer itself is about over 10 years. So that's the approximate lifetime of our trackers as well, other trackers. And warranty period given on certain components and or the tracker itself is 3 years, as well as other our trackers. Working temperature here is also standard from -40 to +85. The tracker was tested with different extreme temperatures, and this is its working range. And it supports remote configuration using the the configurator by remote server, or using SMS, as well as using commands from the monitoring software if it supports it. So these are the main technical issues with our tracker. The installation scheme, scheme here is a loud word, is shown on screen. So as you can see, it's really very easy. You don't have to look up the these connections, these wires. You just find OBD-II input. It's usually somewhere under driver's dashboard. For each vehicle and each model, it's different, but the majority has it somewhere here under the steering wheel, from the right or left side on the driver's side. And all you have to do is actually put it inside, so stick it into the OBD-II input. You can see on this slide that it is starting to show that there is external power supplied by showing the red lid on the case. And it will also show our standard blue, green, and yellow indication, which is the same for all our trackers for your convenience. So blue for GSM, green for GPS, and yellow for the processing unit. So the device connection scheme is shown here. It's standard for, say, G1962 standard. There are 4 pins used, and our input also has 4 pins. So if we look here. 6, I'm sorry. So 2 are just for
better connection.
yes, for better connection, for more connection with the
more
OBD
solid
input.
connection.
Yes, thank you. While the function inputs here are CAN-H, CAN-L, GND, and the VCC, so the voltage itself, which is on the 16th beam. So as we already mentioned, the tracker was not once tested and for the quality of the track in specifics. So you can see that the track is nearly perfect. All the points, all the turnings and driving on straight lines, it's all covered in creating extra points and drawing well, getting exact coordinates, which the tracker was in at the moment of point recording. So the quality of the OBD-II tracker, even compared to many other solutions on the market, is, well, actually supreme, as we have already tested and looked ourselves. And of course, its main functionality, apart from recording the track and sending data on the created track to the server, is its diagnostic capabilities of the data received from the CAN bus using the CAN scanner tool. So you can see on screen the CAN scanner tool itself. I'm pretty sure that many of you have already worked with it and know its capabilities. So it's just very useful, and we are not sure if there is any real analog solutions on the market which allow you to find yourself the data in the CAN bus using a practical approach or using your knowledge of the identifiers in the CAN bus with that speed, so quickly. Because it shows not only the data received at the moment, it also updates this data with pretty fast, showing you which values have been changing lately. So which helps you to identify this or that parameter in the vehicle, for example, engine speed, the engine temperature, fuel level, and of course we can read error codes received from the OBD-II diagnostic input and send it to the server. So as I already mentioned, as all our devices, OBD-II tracker supports protocols J1939 and FMS standard in specific and J1979. So you can work with these two protocols in the CAN bus, which are, to be said, currently the most widely spread protocols in the vehicles. And of course, as all our trackers produced in the last 5 years, I guess, the OBD-II tracker supports the Easy Logic technology, which allows to expand the existing functionality of the tracker and apply it according to your project requirements. So the most usual and the most common things that we have thought about for the OBD-II tracker can be, of course, as we both already mentioned, dispatcher notification if any sabotage found. So it can be GPS jamming, it can be, or GSM jamming. It can be extracting the OBD-II tracker from the input, which results in loss of the external power. So it can be notification using SMS or using certain tag sent to the server. We can set sending SMS messages to the driver if his vehicle is being evacuated, which is also quite easy to find out if you have ignition sensor and you can see that the tracker and the vehicle is moving, but the ignition is off. We can inform about errors in the vehicle performance by reading the error codes or reading usual CAN data and seeing if anything is wrong. And of course, we can remind about the necessity of regular checkup of the vehicle in the service, because you know that all vehicles, especially corporate, should have a regular checkup of all its system. So our trackers can simply um, count the mileage or the working time of the vehicle and eventually notify that it needs a checkup to be made. So that's basically all we wanted to cover in today's webinar concerning our new product. I hope you liked how it looks and how what it can do. Now we will look at the questions tab, and your questions, we'll try to answer them.
Yeah, let's move to the questions tab, and thanks to Edmund Paul for his question. The question is, what is the size of the internal battery and how long is the battery life? We have already mentioned it during our presentation, but once again, we can tell you.
Yes, so once again, the capacity is 100 milliamperes per hour, and the battery life usually is a little bit more than an hour.
Yeah, mainly it is enough for the device to be extracted from the OBD port and to be put into some other vehicle. So it doesn't need more actually. But yeah, there is the battery. It's so small. All right. Then we have few questions at the chat tab actually, and the question from Aldo Gerber: why is the unit such a high visible blue? Can the dark to blend it with the vehicle plastic color? Well, this is a good mentioning actually. So yeah, but sometimes we can think of having it black, but anyway, can we imagine that it's being extracted from the OBD port if it is so blue, so it's visible, the driver will see it. So I don't think that he will think of extracting it because it's quite useful thing for him for the corporate fleet. But overall, if you are doubting about, for example, light indication, you can switch it off. But the color of the plastic is black as of now, blue as of now. Still, we are looking forward to have the feedback from some of our partners, and there is no guarantee that we will not change it in the future. So if everybody thinks that black is the better one for the OBD tracker, we'll think of changing the color in the future. But now we think that the blue is the good color for the device. Being visible, it will have the attention of the driver not to just deploy it, not to just extract it actually. The question from Prince Robert: what is the percentage error for the fuel level?
Okay, so I guess I'll answer this one. Yeah, so as already mentioned, the tracker will get this data from the CAN bus itself. So the accuracy, well, strongly depends on what is the accuracy of the fuel level sensor installed inside the vehicle by default and used and sent as value in the CAN bus. The tracker itself reads the CAN bus with pretty high precision, so the same precision as shown on the dashboard of the vehicle, because it's all connected and taking values from the same place. So it all depends on the vehicle quality, the vehicle fuel sensor quality itself, not on the tracker.
Yes, we just transmit the value which we receive, so eventually you'll have it. So the question from John Congoy: can we download the presentation? We can send it to you after our presentation ends, I guess. So you will have the PDF presentation at hand if you require. But once again, let us remind you that the recording of the webinar will be sent to your emails once it is finished. Yep. If you have any certain additional questions, let us have it, because I know that there are definitely. So do not hesitate to do it.
Also, while we're waiting for questions, I would like to remind you that we also made a small short video concerning the main advantages of this device. So it will be useful not only for you, but also for your needs when, for example, presenting our trackers to your clients. So it has like a very short timeline and covers by point the main features of our product. So you can check our YouTube channel and see. I think we can share the link here, or yeah, I think we can share the link here. Okay.
The question from on the question tab from Mural Lingam. He asks, actually he comments that for Japanese trucks, most of the time they don't get any parameters or getting very few parameters. What are our comments on this?
Okay, so we don't have any specific information about Japanese trucks, as far as I know. What I can say is that most of the trucks usually use, well, not most, but some, can use not one CAN bus, but two, and it might be the problem here with your well, with your trackers and with your project can be that you might be connecting to the CAN bus that is sending a low amount of the data, while the major part of the data is in the second CAN bus. Next is that, well, our tracker, if set correctly by the speed and by the identifiers read by it, well, it reads with pretty high precision. So there are no problems with that. So usually, if you don't get all the parameters or have parameters lost or not sent, that means that the problem might be somewhere in the settings or the connection, so the physical part. So I think we can look at this question more detailed if you write us in this on support email, so support@7geese.com. .true, I'm sorry, support@7geese.true, and we'll look closer on that issue. But
Yeah, let us try to connect to Canvas remotely to check what parameters we can extract from there. We are there to assist you, so our
yes,
technical support team will be glad to add new models into our portfolio. And one more comment in the context of the OBD-II. It is mostly deployed on the light vehicles, not on the trucks. So we cannot tell about installation. Actually, rarely we can talk about the installation of the OBD-II device in the truck. It's mainly for light vehicles, like commercial vehicles. There are other questions on the chat tab. For example, from Albertson Ape, what is the IP rating of the unit? Thank you for the question. Well, there is no IP actually for OBD device, and there is one reason for that, because it doesn't require IP. So the OBD port is placed in the cabin of the vehicle, which is waterproof, obviously, and there is simply no case when it will be flooded or filled with dust. So it's mainly has the electronics components covered by its plastic body. That's it. So it doesn't require anything else. So the installation isn't done but under the engine hood, not under in the engine compartment. It is inside the cabin, so there is no water. Um, the question from Thomas Tom: can you provide support vehicle model list, and what kind of parameters can get by vehicle model?
okay, so concerning this, we do have a small, well, at least for now, a small list of models of vehicles that we have already worked with, and some parameters that we know we can get from it. But well, I think that's also a question better to be asked directly to our support team, because we usually, well, we don't just throw all our lists to all our clients. We help with specific vehicles and to our specific clients, just usually connecting to them and even helping them to configure. So I think that will be a more productive way to work. And so please address us on our on our email. You can write on site, you can address via your manager, so the channel does not matter. We will eventually help you with that.
Yeah, the more you address us, the more you request us for such decryption, the more decryptions we have already made. So the more we have the experience together with you, you are our hands in this specific case, the more we will have of the ready-made solutions. So do not hesitate to do it. Another question from Edmund Paul about the pricing, and yeah, let us leave the pricing issues to the end of our conversation. So just address to your personal manager, or we will contact you from our side about the pricing policy for Galileosky OBD-II device. But just to give you some indication, you may check Galileosky 7.0 Lite. It is quite the same. Yeah, it's different, but it's on that price range. So, but anyway, we will send you the updated information after our webinar ends. So, any other questions? So we have a few minutes to go. Just small reminders on the course of this presentation. For example, we are glad to announce once again, probably you have already seen this news, that the operation hours of our technical support are extended now. So in order to be closer to our customers, in order to make more efficient support, despite of being in a jet lag, we have extended our working hours. Now they are, if we say Greenwich time, it's I guess from 2 p.m. to yeah 2 p.m. to
2 a.m. From 2 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, feel free to send your request during these operation hours. We will do our best to answer those online. So yeah.
So we have already we have now sent the email for technical support. So again, if any specific technical questions concerning our trackers or connection to other devices, please feel free to contact us. Our tech support team is always glad to help you via Skype, via email, via website, any channel.
Yep. All right. It seems that there are no other questions. We have more covered all of them during our presentation, I hope. Still, if there are, please feel free to contact us afterwards. We will be pleased to assist you. And all right.
Yeah, I guess it's
yeah.
we can finish.
All right. See you on the next webinars. The next one will be dedicated to the agriculture solutions, and stay tuned to our updates on the new webinars. Stay subscribed to our YouTube channel. Get to know more and more about Galileosky device in order to provide more and more interesting solutions for your customers. It is a great pleasure to see each and every time those participants who are our regular visitors. You know that you're the ones who know Galileosky equipment the best. So let's keep it going. Thank you for visiting us again, and see you soon.
Yes, thank you very much for your attention, and see you next time.
All right, thank
Goodbye.
you. Thank you. Bye.